Hi, this is David Young here with Smule Sessions, and we're super excited to be sitting down with Smule's first ever Indian partner artist, and which is a huge, awesome thing. So Armaan Malik is here. We're sitting just a few miles away from where you'll be performing in one day, right?
Yeah.
And we just have some kind of cool topics we want to talk about. We have some questions from the Smule community that they have rapidly posted in just a few hours since we announced that we were taking questions. So yeah, I guess before we dive into anything too Smule-ish, kind of curious about your background in music, just like since you were a child and coming up, and what was that like, and what role did music play in your childhood and then transitioning to a career?
Well, I actually belong from a musical family back home. Almost 3 generations of music. My grandfather was a music composer in the Bollywood music industry. Then my uncle was a composer. My dad is a composer. My brother's a composer as well.
I'm noticing a trend.
But in the whole family, there wasn't a singer. And I think my grandfather noticed this talent of mine early on, and he saw me. I was singing songs rather than talking initially. So they were like, definitely there's a natural talent in him, and we should further that by putting him into classes and training sessions and stuff. So I started learning Hindustani classical music, which is the base for any singer back in India. And from there on, I started participating in a lot of competitions, the equivalent of American Idol. There's a show called Saregamapa, which is a huge show back in India, and I was in the top 10 on that show as well, at the age of 10.
Oh man, top 10 at the age of 10.
So after that, I started focusing on studies a little bit, like we all need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And amidst all of that, I had this passion of writing songs, and I used to write a lot of songs in English. Not many people know this.
Okay.
I write a lot of songs in English. My train of thought is in English, not in Hindi.
Interesting.
And somehow a cover of mine of Just the Way You Are, I'd done a cover of Bruno Mars's song, and I put it up on YouTube. And Universal Music India's managing director, he spotted that video and called me into the office, and they offered me a 3-year contract with the label. That's at amazing. The age of 16. And for me, everything was so early on in my career. I started singing professionally by the age of 8, and I got this huge break at the age of 16. And the only thing that crushed me at that point was that he said, you cannot write in English because there's no market of English music back home in India. And I was like, why not? Then I still forced one English song onto the album. But because of that album, there's a huge superstar, Salman Khan, back home. And he loved one song out of that album, and he used it in his movie. And that became my debut as a playback singer in Bollywood.
Okay.
In the year 2014. And from there on, a lot of Bollywood songs, mm-hmm. and a lot of non-film songs. Okay, so unlike the West, I just need to tell all the people who are listening to this.
No, and this is something I'm definitely curious about.
Because there's a film industry.
Yeah.
But there's also this non-film industry, which is normal album songs and singles. Like in the West, people release music irrespective of movies or whatever it's used in, mm-hmm. and people use songs as part of the soundtracks as original soundtracks. But all the movies that are made back home are musicals, so music is made for the movies. Mm-hmm. Some of us, like me and a few other artists, we also focus on songs that we put out, that we are the face to as well. Not many people know that this song is sung by this singer, because they end up seeing the song on an actor rather than us.
Right.
So in the last few years, I've been doing a lot of videos in which I'm the face to my own voice.
Okay.
So that's giving me, the placement as, this is Armaan Malik and this is his.
And is that kind of out of the norm that you're
Definitely
doing? Okay.
It definitely is, because not many singers do that, because they're really happy doing playback singing. But I always believe that the singer should be on the fore, because if anyone in the world sees a song by me, and they'll be like, okay, where is Armaan in the music or in the video? So I think that recognition is very important on a global level, because everyone in India definitely knows us as the playback singers, but on a global level, people will understand us as an artist or through music videos and through stuff like that. So that's what I've been doing, and recently I released quite a few songs. There was one song which I shot in LA called Ajana Ferrari Mein. It's a very fun pop track, and it's got trap and stuff. It's meddling with those genres.
And that was all just that wasn't tied to any film. That was just like you're saying, just for the music.
For the music, and that's very offbeat back home. Not many people do that. Everyone does music for films. So,
got it.
So I kind of am the champion of that of that cause.
No, that's awesome, and it's interesting hearing all that, because there's a bit of the flip side that's definitely been affecting a lot of the music industry in kind of the U.S. right now. Is like most people don't even know that major artists don't write their own songs. They just assume, okay, it's so and so, they wrote
like
a song.
I know Bruno Mars is a writer for so many songs that are sung by other singers.
Totally, yeah, and that's actually how he started. Bruno Mars
and
was
he broke out with Just the Way You Are.
Exactly. So it's interesting that there's that whole side, and then I was reviewing your Instagram ahead of this, because I try to do my research. And but I one of the posts I found most interesting was you were announcing a song, and it had 3 different guys' images. Yours was the furthest to the right, but it was this person wrote the music, this person wrote the lyrics, and this person sung it. But they were, everyone was equal, and it was like all the names were important. And I'm like, I can't even imagine that unless you're talking about, like, if it was like a U.S. artist and like, Diplo was the producer. And it's like big names, but most of the time you're like, I have no idea who produced this.
It's all in the dark, especially. That's what back home what we do is that every person related to the song. So if it's the music composition, I've sung a lot of songs with my brother, so he's a composer. So the music will be by him, the lyrics will be by someone else. And like in the West, there are composers and writers. Back home in India, there's a composer who only composes music, and there's a writer who only writes lyrics. So when we release a song, we give equal footage to everyone related to the song. But obviously, ultimately, the singer gets all the eyeballs of the song.
Of course, your job, right? Kind of just curious about, like, at those writing sessions, when you're putting a song together and everyone has their specific role. Like, when the lyricist comes in, does the lyricist have a vocal melody in mind, or are you as the singer trying to take the lyrics and assign a melody, or does the composer say, oh, well, I think the melody should be this? Like, is there a set way that happens, or is it kind of an organic?
It's so sometimes what happens is sometimes it's organic, where 3 of us are meeting at my rehearsal place and we're just jamming. I have my guitar, my brother has his keyboard, and now we don't need pads, we have the phone, so we're writing lyrics on the phone.
Of course.
We have, but we don't use it. But I believe in writing music. Like, whenever I go into the studio, I'll always write the lyric of the song, because I feel when you write it, you feel the emotion.
Definitely. And you can't get a text message on your page.
You need to put it in airplane mode. So sometimes it happens where we're all jamming and the song so probably a tune comes to the composer first, and a lyric writer writes words according to that tune. Sometimes the lyric writer has an idea and he messages it to the composer and says, I have this really cool hook line or the top line, and I think it'll go really well. And the composer gets the lyric and he composes on that lyric. So it happens both ways. It just depends where it comes from. The source is very important. And sometimes what happens is a lot of it is governed by the film and the producer and the director. So like I said, the film industry is huge back in home, and the script is very important, what the film wants to say. So in a particular situation, if there's a love song, they will tell us, this is what's happening between both of these characters. Example, if it's first love and he's not being able to convey his emotions to the person that he really likes, so the lyrics have to be according to that, and the tune has to be according to that.
Sure.
So there's a lot of different factors that go into making a song.
Very cool. And so then you touched on that, all these factors go into creating a song, but in the end,
it's for a movie.
It's for the movie, but in your case, a lot of times you're the face of the song.
Yeah.
You're the singer.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious how you view that as an artist then coming onto a platform like Smule, where yes, you are once again the face of the song, but you're singing it organically. You're singing, here's me singing a take of it in my hotel room or wherever I am, and then you're going to see a million other faces of that song join you on it.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of curious on your thoughts about that as, music moving past just a passive consumption and more of a participatory experience for
it's
everyone.
amazing. I'm seeing the video that I just did, Therja, for Smule. I've seen videos from everywhere on the globe, and it's really amazing to see where a single piece of music can reach out to. And it's the collaborations are just not local anymore, it's global. And that's what these applications like Smule are helping us to do. It's bridging the gap of distance.
Yes.
Because everyone, people are working on mail, people are working on video, on FaceTime and stuff like that, and songs are being done over mail. It's that kind of a generation.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful if two artists from different parts of the world and they collaborate and they're like, wow, his sensibilities or her sensibilities are exactly like mine. And we would never be able to meet that person if it wasn't for a mediator like Smule.
Yeah.
And I think that's a brilliant thing where I feel the world's getting even more smaller. It's becoming one family.
Absolutely. And that's the amazing thing is, in Smule's case, leveraging music, because before any technological, development of the last 100 years comes in, music was still the one universal thing that the whole world had their own parts of, but kind of agreed that, like, oh yeah, we all like music. It's core to our DNA as a species. So I'm kind of curious how you just view music's role in that, making us all a family, and beyond just, your Instagram and your Twitter, where we're all talking, but
we're not communicating really.
But music is kind of the shared language that we can actually break down.
I think one interesting thing that can happen on Smule in the future, I don't know if you guys will consider it.
By all means.
It's if we get the capability to probably do 4 chords or 5 chords and just throw it out open to the world, and I'd like anyone to interpret these chords in their own way and just write a lyric on that, and I'll probably sing a song on that. So collaborating on an international level. Singing a song, making an original song right on Smule.
Yep.